Commercial property is great for cash flow and getting your time back, and because it brings a lot less hassle and higher margins than residential, plus some amazing tax breaks. But how do we evaluate? How do we finance those deals? How do we pick the right commercial properties to hopefully protect us from the attack from the big cat, and hopefully make sure there's some moats or protection devices around the assets? It's all about the asset, the location, the property, the alternative use, what it can be used for, and tenant selection is critical. So let's jump in right now, evaluating and financing your commercial property deals. So in terms of what we should be looking at, or how can we evaluate commercial properties really quickly from the comfort of your own home without doing anything but searching and phoning. So when you're assessing, the most important thing, day one, is don't be looking at commercial property that doesn't have income, doesn't have positive cash flow day one. Now, what I mean by positive cash flow is positive cash flow post full debt servicing. Banks these days will expect an element of amortization, which means an element of paying down debt over the term. Now you can get full amortization over 15 years, which is what I kind of go for all the time, or you can get part amortization. So potentially half interest only, potentially half amortizing over a period of time. But to keep it really simple, we just assume we're going on a 15-year fully amortized product because that's so easy to work out as a figure. And but the key thing is always go for cash flow day one, income producing assets day one, with an ability to add value. So you're adding equity in there and a vendor motivation. Then after, as we talked about, when you're adding value, only look in affluent areas. Now, why would you want to look in affluent areas? The reason for that is there's low vacancies there. There's a lot of discretionary spend in affluent areas, which basically means if there's a lot of affluent area discretionary spend, the tenants are going to be trading well. So even if you get a vacancy, there's a likelihood, this whole thing's about making it easy for yourself. There's a likelihood that you'll be able to re-let that unit very quickly. Yeah. So always cash flow day one, affluent area, and ability to add value, hopefully just by lease work. One better than that is lease work and physical property work down the road. But day one, we would just want to go for the low-hanging fruit. The next point is, service-based businesses. Just one thing on that, on the affluent areas, we did cover it before, but it's worth going over a couple of things because it might be the first time you're hearing this. And an affluent area, the way you can check that is you look at the GOAD, the GOAD plan. If you're dealing with an auction environment, part of the legal pack would be a GOAD plan. And all a GOAD plan is a local high street, and it's usually all pictures of yellow, and you're just looking for one thing, the number of vacant shops in the high street. And that'll tell you pretty quickly, in the back of a napkin, in 5 minutes, if this is a kind of affluent area, or does it look like a ghost town? Are there a ton of vacancies? In which case you just bin it and move on. Yeah. So cash flow day one, ability to add value, which means hopefully the lowest hanging fruit is a lease coming towards its end in an affluent area, which you can check by the GOAD, or go to, remember the website localarea.com, and type in the postcode. You can go there. The next thing is service-based businesses are absolutely, or staying the other end of the continuum from traditional retail, and especially fashion traditional retail. If that is being under attack just now, traditional retail in general by technology and Amazon, then the other end of that is service-based businesses. They're going to be here for a long period of time. It's like the coffee shops are the new pubs, and it's where we congregate, where we meet, where we have lunch now. In fact, you never believe this, but baby boomers last year, I can't remember where the source was from. It might have been the FT, it might not. But last year, baby boomers spent $6 billion on lunches, which is quite incredible. I certainly contributed quite a lot to that myself. But that just gives you an idea of how spending habits are changing. Most of the baby boomers are empty nesters. We've certainly experienced that recently.
Absolutely.
It's not a cool thing when the kids leave the nest, but You know, they're back every 3 weeks or something. And we see ourselves going out more, you know, for lunch, for coffees, as opposed to when they were here.
You're cooking.
You know, you're going to the big Tesco and having a £200 shop every week, where now we don't want to do that because there's only two of us. So the way people, you know, human behavior affects spending patterns, affect what tenants are going to be here for the longer term. So service-based businesses are an absolute must. Then we've talked about the Buffett rule of 10. You know, he always says, if you're buying an asset, you know, look yourself in the mirror and, you know, say to yourself, you know, am I prepared to hold this asset for 10 years? And if you're not, then don't buy it in the first place, because all the work's at the beginning. You know, you get these factors right, all the work is front loaded at the beginning. And once you've done it, if you've done it right, there's not a lot to do thereafter. In fact, one of my properties in Perth, we rented it June 2013. And because it's in Perth, it's like an hour and a half away from me. You know, I've never been back. And I don't need to go back. And that property is rented out 15 years. So there's quite a few years to go on that one. And, you know, there's no need for me to go back because all the work was done at the beginning if you get the right tenant. Yeah. So then we need to, and you can do this virtual as well, have a quick look at the freehold condition. You know, have a look at the tiles on the roof, have a look at the roof, have a look at the chimney stack, have a look at the, you know, does the lead look like it's still there or someone stole the lead? These basic things that are all visual and you can see on the picture from the agent's, you know, PDF or the auction site downloads are really, you know, you can make a quick assessment. You know, I mean, straight away, is there a tenant already paying rent? Boom.